What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Brown Jet. We got Kristian Peter here as well, live streaming. Merry Christmas, everyone, if you're on the West Coast. Happy Boxing Day for those of you who are living in Toronto or on the other side. How's it going, Kristian?
Awesome. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Ho- I hope that everybody's having an amazing Monday night. DFK Monday Night Madness is always coming at you. Brown Gent got to me and said, "Hey, do you want to stream on Christmas?" But actually, it's past Christmas for you right now, right? It's on the 26th. So, but anyway, we wanted to come to you guys live on Christmas evening so that we could talk all about DFK, what's going on in the realms right now, some of the special alpha that's happening, some of the things that you guys should be looking out for, and especially what's going to happen in 2024 and beyond. Brown Gent and I have been talking about airdrops a lot, and we'll probably hit on some of those as well too. But you know, there's just so much going on right now. I know, Brown Jet, you've been doing a ton of videos lately. I mean, how do you find time to keep up with all these airdrops, man?
Honestly, it's like an addiction. Well, that's the best way to sort of say it. I think a lot of people who I've talked to, I think you've had a similar experience. Well, they'll sort of be like, okay, this is a lot of work, doing all the activities. It's a ton of work to even keep track of like all the protocols, all the airdrops. But literally, some people's like full-time job is this, right? Like they just figure out what's good, make a ton of wallet, and earn a ton of money. And those are the people who actually like make it big time. So instead of like grinding and trying to make like dollars, I want to make thousands of dollars. I think so do you. And I think now's an opportunity. I think you said it best. We're about to get in the bull market. This is when projects come out. This is when they want to give tokens. But what do you think?
Definitely. It's a great time to get out there right now, guys. 2024 is going to be a banner year. For those of you that don't know, we have the Bitcoin ETF that's set to get approved here by the SEC January 10th. That's the deadline they have to approve. I think there's like 14 of them now in the pipeline. So there's a lot of big catalysts that are coming up very soon, extremely shortly. And everybody's starting to position themselves. You see Solana today ran up to $120. That was just $11 when Jim Cramer called the bottom of the crypto markets. Jim Cramer came on CNBC and basically said, I sold all my Bitcoin. I sold everything I had. That's when Bitcoin was at 15,000. Solana was at 11,000. I think ETH was at 1150. So you knew that was going to be the bottom of the market. Basically, last December, he signaled it. I want to let you know too, guys, the very first DFK video I ever made was December 24th, 2021. I went back and watched that yesterday. It was so much fun to see my excitement for DFK back in 2021. Can you guess, Brown Gent, what the price of Jewel was on Christmas Eve 2021?
So December 21st. Uh, so ironically, wait, sorry, what day was it? 21st, 24th?
24th of 2021.
Ironically, that's the day I joined DFK. So
Wow.
I know because I was staying at my parents' house and I was so bored. Let me think. It would have been like $12, I think.
$14. Yep. $14 was the price of Jewel on Christmas Eve 2021, guys. Big shout out to everybody in the chat too. Two Noobs, thank you so much for creating your tool. I was on Sarge's channel on Friday. We had a great time. I think he made like 20 Jewel and like 2,000 bloaters. So if you don't know what's going on with Two Noobs, you got to get him. You got to get in touch with him. Get him on your stream. Hey, it's my favorite. He's filthy. He's nasty. I wasn't sure if he was going to make it. Sergeant Filthy McNasty, how are you today, brother?
Speak of the devil. I heard my name. My
you don't look like, is this a special background of you driving? I'm confused.
No, plans changed. Wife was nice enough to buy me some She's like, all right, it's Christmas. What the hell? Go for it.
Nice. Okay, so hey, we got some people in the chat here. We got Two Noobs. Let's go. We got Kurt Hawkage. We got Rabito. Merry Christmas. We all went Two Noobs. Oh wow, 6 a.m. here in France. Merry Christmas. Pirate Barrel. We got Rabito. Kramer sold it all. You know what? Kramer always marks. There's like an inverse Kramer fund. Always do the opposite. When he was shorting Tesla, people were going all in. Like the inverse Kramer. It's fantastic. We got Twinkle Pleasure, Sarge, Lucky Duck. All right, you know what? We've got 15 people here. Now, I was planning on giving away a couple things. Here's the first one. It's going to be a little different than normal. So instead of a wheel, instead of like any of that stuff, those of you who watch this channel know what my account name is. Sarge is not going to tell you the name of the account. Neither is Kristian. In the last hour, I summoned 3 heroes. If you can give me the rarity and the class of the hero that I summoned and the ID number, you win it. Put it in the chat. You'll get it.
All right, I'm silently participating. See if I can get to before one of the peeps here. Let's see.
That's awesome, Brown Gent. So you're going to get not only the alpha of tonight from Sarge, Brown Gent, and I, but you can also have a chance of winning a hero. That is super cool. Make sure that you get out there, take a look. You know what he's got. He's got a lot of great Gen 0 summoning pairs. So I'm sure that there's going to be some really nice prizes at the end of this for those of you in the chat tonight.
And this way you'll have to know how to use the tool. So it's not just showing up and farming. So for those of you who've been paying attention, for those of you who've seen the videos that any of us make, how do you know what hero I summoned tonight? How do you know what your count is? You need 3 things, because I don't want people just guessing randomly. Put it in the chat, and only your first guess counts. So I'm not, if you guessed the first time and you get it wrong, and you go the second time, you don't get it. By the way, I don't want the name. I want the rarity. I want the class, and I want the ID of the hero.
Nice. One of the things that we talked about last week was Vizzies. I don't know about you guys, but I've got 3 bloater suits and I've got 3 karate gis. I'm thinking about getting a couple more though, because you get karate combat tokens. I know they have 3 million. They're going to airdrop depending on, who buys what, where, when. And the karate tokens to me are pretty cool. I bet on the karate combat 43 when I was there with Dreamer and Grady and everybody. Have you guys bought any Vizzies yet, Brown Jen or Sarge?
Oh, absolutely.
Go ahead. You have?
No, I have. I saw your tweet, so but I want to hear more about what you're doing here, Brown Jet. I did. I bought 3 and I bought 3 of the gi Vizzies. One, I think they're cool looking. I know they're visual, skins, right? Nothing functional, quote unquote. But I don't know what I don't know. I suspect that the in-game non-functionality, that may be true, but I suspect there may be non-game functionality, a function that may be worth sort of maybe tossing in a few bucks. That's me just betting blindly. Kristian's not shared anything. No one shared with me anything aside from the fact that we do know for a fact there is an airdrop tied to buying or purchasing these gis, right? But I don't know, there's something in me that says, hey, you know what, there may be more, pick one up before it's too late. Again, NFA, it's more on a whim. It's a few bucks, but I know BG, you have a completely opposite potentially opinion, unless things have changed since the time I saw your tweet.
Yes, it's not so much like an opinion that it's like negative, but there's a time limit on when you can purchase it. So I think the lowest one at the time, at least, was 15 days left. So I was like, why not defer the decision until later when I have more information, right? It makes no difference if I buy it then or if I buy it in 14 days, because yes, I lose the wow factor, but everyone's going to get it too. So it's not like, oh my God, how do you get this thing and no one else has it? All right.
Ooh, look at that.
Got it. Rare Dark Knight, CV 453,978. That's correct. If you can do me a favor, can you, if you want to claim this, please DM me on Twitter, or actually put in your Twitter or your Discord handle in the chat so I can follow up with you after the fact to get that to you. Ironically, as we were queuing up the stream, I was summoning while Kristian and I were catching up, and I was like, wow, I hit that. But I'm like, hey, I don't need it. I already got Dark Knights. So
the key is really paying attention. It's like, I know your account name. Why can't I was looking under hero sales, totally forgetting the fact that you were calling for the hero summon, which is a totally different bot within Discord, if that's where you were looking.
Yeah, exactly. But I figured this way. One of the things I don't enjoy so much about these like spin the wheel things is I noticed last time especially, one, it gets so convoluted when like people come into the stream in and out and add me, have you added me, have you added me? When you have like 50 people, last time we did it, it was like brutal. Then when you spin it, you got to take them off, and then someone asks you to add them. I don't remember if they won a prize already, right? Till after. So it's complicated, and some people just join to farm like rewards and stuff. So this way, if you're actually paying attention, you got a better chance than just randomly. You know what I mean? So everyone really gets a shot.
I love that. And just so the guys know out there, I mean, we love doing giveaways. All of us do on our channels, and we have a great time, you know, giving stuff to the community, but it becomes a thing. And I used to get a ton of scams. When I would give something away, I'd get like 3 DMs from people with the exact same username in Discord and Twitter saying like, hey, send me my hero. And this was back when heroes were like a couple $100, right? So I was like, oh man, which one do I choose? And then I couldn't figure out which one was which. And I had to have like how do I figure out who's who when it comes down to it? So I like it too when you can just give it to somebody that you already know. JSM Russo won the trifecta that I gave away, the 3 heroes that I bought for the boar hunts. And, you know, I already knew that he had the same Discord, and he gave me his OX, and I just went out there and sent him everything. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's fun to give away stuff, especially on Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys. I mean, this is awesome. I'm glad that we had a giveaway. I'm glad, Brown Jet, that you were able to summon that Gen 1 rare Dark Knight. And man, that's a good holiday gift right there.
It is. You know what? As we're talking about gifts, maybe we should check out somebody else's wish list for 2024. Maybe we get Kristian to weigh in here. So somebody posted on Twitter, 2024 is shaping up to be historic. 1 second transaction goes live. DeFi Kingdoms is going to return to Harmony. Harmony regains its peg and utilizes Ethereum L2. This is not even a wish list. This is like a miracle list. You know what I mean? Miracles, let's just say. And then Coinbase listing. Now, I have my own thoughts here where I said I think asking DFK to go back to Harmony is like asking someone to get back with their toxic ex. Want to hear from you guys. What do you think?
I can start here. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, I think you said it pretty well, right? Returning back to your toxic ex. I don't know what I don't know, but what we've heard collectively as a community, right, is that we're still waiting for them to return our calls, right? So coming at it from that perspective, I mean, hey, relationships, any sort of relationship, business relationships are not sort of excluded in this. It's a two-way streak, right? You know, communication is important, and you know, if that is the case, or if communication has been limited, or if you've not really heard, hey, you know what, money's not coming back, but hey, you know, have an open line of communication to say, hey, here's where we are, here's what's going on. I don't see it happening. I think more so with the fact that there are a bunch of other chains out there who are begging us to, not just begging us to come and sort of partner up with them, but, you know, trying to, you know, conceivably tossing millions upon millions of dollars at us. You know, why go back when there's bigger, better out there? And at this point, hey, you know what, we're a force to be reckoned with. Last I saw, hey, for a subnet, we're doing pretty damn good for ourselves.
Those are all great points. And if you look down there at the bottom, you'll see SPD, second best dad, has got his quote as well. You know, you got to learn from your past experiences. That's a big deal, guys. I mean, realistically. So I was talking earlier about the very first DFK video I did on Christmas Eve of 2021. Can you guys guess what the TVL was, the total value locked inside of DFK on Christmas Eve of 2021?
Was it like 800 million? Or $1 billion?
Very, very close. $750 million.
Wow.
So DFK brought $750 million onto the chain that shall not be named back then. And it was like such a big deal, right? Because they were the only real dApp that was built on the chain. And realistically, we knew how much they were worth to that chain. And that chain basically said, we're going to give you a grant for $1 million. You know, no strings attached, just fill out the whatever they wanted to, and they were supposed to get it. They never paid. They got hacked. All of our tokens went to 10% of their actual value. They basically almost caused the near-death experience for every single project that was being built on that chain. and everybody that got off of it, is basically left with that bad taste in their mouth. So when you have really bad people posting from their accounts about like what DFK is going to do, this just it rubs everybody the wrong way. It's never a good thing, where they're happy to talk, they're happy to have conversations, but you can start off by paying that $1 million grant if you really want to have a conversation. And then also too, like this woman said, why don't you get yourself repegged? Why don't you work on your own backyard before you start asking for miracle lists for 2024? But yeah, I look at it like it's a really, it's a negative taste in everybody's mouth. And SBD is exactly right. You learn from your past experiences and you move on, your toxic relationships, everything that you've done in the past. And hopefully, if all works out well, you don't make that same mistake twice. It's like, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Whew, my gosh. So yeah, I look forward to moving on. I think that, Sarge, you're exactly right. There's so many other people out there that are courting DeFi kingdoms. They see how many transactions are going through the chain. They see what's going on. They see the build in the spare market. And once we hit the bull market, guys, I mean, God, I look back on that 2021. I'm like $750 million. That was 3 months after they launched. I mean, can you imagine the next bull run? What's going to happen? I'm excited about it.
Sarge, when did you join DFK?
It was January of 22.
That's so interesting. So I joined December 24th. Kristian joined December 21st, I believe, and you joined January.
No, I was in October.
Oh, you were October. Your first video was December.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. It was very interesting because I joined DFK not to actually join, but to make a how-to video on how to get Jewel. So I made that video and it was like, hey, there's a game. I don't really care. If you watch the video, you can see me saying, listen, I'm not going to get into the game. I don't have time. I don't care. And here we are. Like, how many years later, right? Still doing it. So it's crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, what a time to get in, right? I think it was one of those. If you're subject, if you're a victim of FOMO, that was one of those, right? But you can only FOMO so much. I don't have deep pockets to have bought up, Gen Zeros and land in every hero, top to bottom. So luckily, my financial circumstances, kept me from, being too deep in the game. It wasn't until price dropped and, things became a bit more affordable, you double down and you say, hey, you know what, looking back where you've been to where you are now, amount of progress, if they were valued at the price they were then, and they've only improved as a project, like, toss in a few bucks at this stage and see where it goes.
Right. I remember, like, at the time, I used to say my number one dream in this project was to get a Gen Zero because it just seemed so far to reach. And you know what's funny? Like you say this year, Tosh introduced you to summoning. I used to watch a ton of Tosh's videos, a ton of Climb Crypto, a ton of Climb and Ogre used to do videos every few days, and I would go on the Stairmaster and just watch Climb talk about an ice machine and some other random stuff for hours. It was great.
Yeah, talk about a great co-host, that ice machine. Climb, if you're out there, bring it back, baby.
Yeah, it was funny because I went on YouTube and I was showing off all the content creators back in 2021, and it was Drake on Digital, it was Tosh, High Indian, Climb Crypto, a few others. But yeah, I was scrolling down the YouTube list and I was like, oh my God, the good old days, right? Back in 2021 when DFK was brand new.
Yeah. So, Sergeant, have you been getting into any of these airdrops recently?
I had DOP or DAP. I forgot which.
Oh, DOP test net, you get it?
Yeah. So I started getting into that one. I heard about it recently, and you know how I heard about it recently. I got stuck in stage or step 7, so I need to go back and revisit. It was late at night. I was like, I'll figure this out when I'm rested. But I'm mostly through all 8 steps on that one. Injective I'm looking into. I know that's you guys did a big stream on that one recently, so that one's interesting. And I've seen there's a lot of chatter going on in a certain Discord channel. I saw, I joined recently. I need to do some catching up. A lot of awesome opportunities here in the last few days, and of course Layer 0. I mean, K if you're in the DFK ecosystem, you're participating at least passively, conceivably. So I mean, hey, free money. Who's not into free money?
Especially so there are different levels, right? So like DOP is a test net for those of you guys watching, and test nets are a great way to sort of zero risk. You don't have to put any of your money up. You can try protocols. So take from it first the learning experience, and on top of it, you earn money while basically being a beta tester for them, right? So that's a way to really like get experience with it, and then typically those will move to a main net. Eventually, you can sort of build out an airdrop farm there, and those typically end up being a little more substantial because you put up your own liquidity, right? So for those of you who's like, hey, I don't have money for gas fees, like I put all my money about, I believe in Joule so much that I don't keep anything in my bank, it's all in Joule. Well, try testnets, and then you can get some more money to buy Joule.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many opportunities out there right now, guys. Don't be blind to the fact that there's many projects outside of DeFi Kingdoms. I know we all love DFK. We have an entirely, community built around DFK, but there are so many other chains that are building, so many other dApps, so much going on right now. I mean, Brown Gent introduced me to Cosmos. I mean, I've had Atom Token for a really long time, haven't done much with it, but after watching Celestia and what happened there, I mean, it just basically did their airdrop in October, and it was like at $2. Now it's all of a sudden it's at $12, and then Injective that was sitting around $6 for the longest time is now like at 45. So it's like just these absolute crazy out of nowhere, and people are like, "Oh, these are all overvalued." Overvalued compared to what? We're at the very beginning. We're at the very start of the bull market, hopefully. And once bull markets get into full effect, like you guys know, I mean, right now, I feel like ETH is way undervalued. You guys have an opinion on ETH?
Oh my God, it's so undervalued. You know what?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree, especially some of these really tried and true OG tokens and projects. I was just listening to one of George's videos. He was talking about how he was talking about Solana. Hey, you know what? Hey, ETH is great, but yeah, don't sleep on Solana. They may be just as big, someday in the near future. But no, I mean, there's all these projects, and what he was getting out of this video, sort of in conclusion, going back to what you were saying, BG, it's okay to love Joule and hold your bags in Joule, but don't be blind to the fact that there's other awesome, exciting projects out there. And if these projects like the stop opportunity, if they're free to sort of get into and explore, all it takes is time. I was able to do this in about get through most of the steps here in about 10-15 minutes with little sleep. So if I could do it and squeeze in a few minutes to sort of do that, you can too. And that's just one of many opportunities.
Definitely.
Yeah, you know what? See this graph right here. So this is something I was charting out earlier. ETH is only up like 6-ish% from the highs from the summer. Solana's up 900+% this year. Bitcoin from this point that you see over here is up like 40 to 50%. ETH has not run yet. ETH has actually been very humble, and people are saying ETH is dead. Oh my God, gas. I mean, we all know about the gas fees, but there's tons of work going on with the L2s and everything else like that. It's going to run eventually. So we just want to make sure that like we don't just get very like narrow-minded and sort of like become an echo chamber. That's the worst thing we want. You can like Solana without thinking ETH is trash, without thinking other projects are trash. I was talking about another individual in the community who will say all negative things about other projects. I heard them say stuff about Cardano 6 months ago, and then Cardano Maxis came after them, and they're like, why is everyone hating on DFK? I'm like, because you're inviting it. You're saying this project is shit. Look at DFK. And you expect people, you don't win friends that way.
Right. Definitely. Hey, good morning to Everton too in the UK. You guys are waking up. We have the DFK family all over the world, and JQ, the Merry Christmas to you guys. Hopefully everybody's friends, family. This is the time of year to get together, enjoy, be thankful for what you've got and look forward to the next year coming up. But yeah, I just feel like people always will talk. When I got into this, it was all about alt layer ones because ETH was too expensive and too slow. And now that ETH is starting to get all of these amazing L2s built on it, all these data availability layers, all of the ZK proofs, it's going to be one of those things that I just think it's going to sneak up on people because of EIP 1559, right? It just burns ETH. So it's deflationary. And then we got 44 coming up next year, probably first or second quarter. That's where blobs get introduced. And then the price of L2s goes down like 20x. So the cost and the speed of things is going to be incredible. And then at that point, guys, I mean, I just think it's like, it's going to be ETH summer. People are going to be like, God, why did we sleep on this? Last bull market, it got up to what, 5,000? And we're at like 2,000 right now, 2,200, something like that. I could easily see it going up and just doing something similar to what Bitcoin did, 3x from its last previous high. So that would be 15K, if not more. So, I mean, it's one of those sleeping giants that I think, and one thing I really love about ETH, just so people know, is that it makes like $6 million a day in gas fees. And so you look at something like Solana, and I know Solana is like the bright, shiny object right now. I love Solana last bull market, made a lot of money from it, back in the FTX days. But Solana to me is like, it's so inflationary. It's crazy. They make like $140,000 in gas fees every day, but they're paying out $14 million in SOL tokens to the validators. So they're like losing $13 million a day. To me, that's like unsustainable. It's like a .com, company, but everybody loves SOL right now. They're in favor. Everybody's like a Solana maxi. And I'm just like, I don't see it. I mean, those things to me don't make business sense. And I love talking to you about it, Brown Jet, because you've got a mind that's just, focused on profit and loss, right? You want to see the balance sheet. You want to see what these companies are actually doing. So when we get a chance to talk about these, I'm like, okay, you've got Ethereum that's making $6 million a day, and you've got Solana that's losing $13 million a day. Which one, in your eyes, is going to be the better long-term prospect?
100%. And you know what? Sometimes it's just momentum, right? Like they had the Jito airdrop and people are still eating off those highs, hoping to like run that up. Like, I feel like we've gotten to meme coin season way too early. Like typically meme coin season doesn't happen till later, but all I hear is Inu this, Pepe this, Cock this. Like, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? Honk, all these things. Like, there's got to be like some sensibility. And yeah, like people are excited, fantastic. But this speaks to the potency of the airdrop. People got 5-figure airdrops with Jito. You just stake one SOL, you like tip $1 for whatever GitHub thing, boom, you're good to go. But that's not just only on Solana. And we're going to see that happen. Tons of ETH projects going to have that. Mantis going to have it, right? ZK Sync's going to have it. We're going to have Layer Zero is going to have it potentially up this year. We're going to look at like all these other Cosmo airdrops. It's not just Solana specific, but that's what's come out and that's what the noise has been. I mean, Kristian, you know better than anyone else. Arbitrum, when that came out, that was a huge narrative for so long. Everyone was like ringing high on that. Tons of TVL. People were just jumping from project to project on that chain for a bit, right?
Yeah, $2 billion there. And I think, Sarge, don't we know a DFK swap that's going to be coming along here sometime around the first half of next year? Don't we know that George is on board with this DFK swap? I mean, I think that there's a mythic.
I heard it's going to be mythic.
Yeah,
pretty epic.
Sound alike out there.
Well, and yet another sort of airdrop that will conceivably, or that we all sort of in the DFK ecosystem are conceivably participating in unknowingly. It's sort of interesting, Brown Jet and Kristian Peter. I think many of us who come into crypto, we're all here trying to chase the next 100x project, and we're ignoring all these 2, 3, 4, 5x projects because 2, 3, 4, 5x. Oh boy, whatever. There's a 100x project out there, and I'm gonna go find it. Try and find a 2, 3, 4, 5x project. In terms of the traditional finance, but I mean, they're out there, right? But are they as easy to find, or as they may be here in crypto? I don't know. And again, you guys would be better able to speak. I know Brown Jet, you sort of dabble between. And then you too, Kristian, dabble between sort of traditional finance and sort of the crypto world. Are we all making mistakes here? Sort of, trying to chase these 100x projects.
Well, you need base hits, right? So like you need to have like the consistent steady growth projects, right? That's what ETH and that's what Bitcoin are. If you make, that's why they're like the fundamentals of anybody who's serious in this space's portfolio, because you may not like 100x, but you're probably going to like 2-3x. ETH likely will get to maybe 10 to 15,000 US by end of cycle. Who knows, right? From this point, that's like a 7.5x or 7x. Is that 100x? No, for sure. But if you don't have that consistency, when you go in those projects that can go 100x, they can also go to 0, right? Because like the reason you're getting such a good deal is because conviction is so low, right? So like one of the best examples is Tesla. Tesla was sitting at a few dollars. If people knew what they knew now, of course they would have bought it. The people who really became millionaires off it are the ones who had conviction when no one else did. And then they saw it through. It's like a startup and it ran off. But should they have put all their money in it? For sure, no way, unless they really understood if they believed in it so much, then maybe. But I would not recommend any random person going, hey, I believe somebody's sales pitch, because one of the things people don't realize is the sales pitch is the project's way of taking the risk off them and putting it on the individual. So that's why when mints happen, typically the mint is the end point where like, okay, the teams already got paid for delivering, but they haven't delivered yet. So that's why I'm always very skeptical. Don't just read people's press releases because they're going to market to you and say the right things. What are they actually doing? What's the underlying fundamentals, like Kristian says? Are they making profit? If not, how close are they? And like, let's see what their books look like. What's their actual expenses? And are they trending up or down? And how does that relate to their revenues? It can be a period of time where things are not profitable because you need to ramp up. But what does their path to profitability look like?
Definitely. I'm about halfway right now through the Elon Musk biography by Walter Isaacson. It is amazing, guys. I recommend that everybody read it. So I'm through 2008 right now. And just like Brown Jen alluded to, the Tesla was falling apart at the end of 2008. And so was SpaceX. SpaceX had just blown up its third rocket in a row. So SpaceX was looking like it was going to go bankrupt. Tesla was trying to make roadsters for $100,000, but it was costing them $150,000 to produce each one of them. So they were losing money, hemorrhaging money. And it was just a big, complete shit show. And so when you look back on these things and you're like, yeah, I wish I would have bought into Tesla. Well, Tesla was, it took a while. There was near-death experiences. It reminds me a lot, guys, of what we've had to go through in crypto, where you had to see, like even Ethereum went through its DAO hack moment where it looked like Ethereum was going to fail. I mean, basically it was like, okay, it's either like we do a hard fork or basically the tokens are going to be next to worthless. And when you see that and the community pulls through and people get behind it, and that's what happened in Tesla. Some of Elon Musk's former co-founders of PayPal came forward. Founders Fund said, oh, we're going to give you $20 million for SpaceX to launch one more rocket. Luckily, the fourth rocket actually made it into space and they delivered their payload. A couple of months after that, they got their first NASA contract for $1.6 billion. And then the rest is history, right? SpaceX now is just a juggernaut. Tesla, same thing. You've got to have those people that are in your community that believe in you, that are behind you, that see the opportunity and say like, hey, these guys are down. They've been hit, they've been kicked, they've been beaten down. And now's the opportunity to get in while you can. I mean, I look at what Solana's done. It's already 10x, guys. I mean, look at what Kramer did. It was at $11 when he said crypto's dead. Now it's at 120. So you're talking like a 10 or 11x already in just 1 year. So it's just like, wow, these things are incredible and they go up extremely quickly. I think that what we're going to see in 2024 is this narrative of like, okay, Bitcoin ETF hits middle of January. People are going to go crazy. All this money is going to pile into Bitcoin. Then the halvening is going to be the next thing that comes up. Then the Fed's going to start cutting rates because we're in an election year. It's just like all these catalysts are going to be good. Not that there's not going to be volatility. There definitely is. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs and swings. And Bitcoin never goes up in a straight line. There'll be some scares and they'll shake people out. They'll try to get their coins from them. But I can see things going up really quickly. So it's just like, take advantage of it now. The fundamentals and the catalysts are all there. If you look at January, April, November, all throughout next year, it's going to be like boom, 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 boom. I mean, I don't know your guys' thoughts on this, but I'm so excited about 2024. I'm glad that we've made it this far and we're still here.
No kidding. I am going to have to bounce. But I will say this much. first and foremost, Brown Gent, thank you very much for having me on. For those of you who don't know, because I don't think I've ever shared this before, Brown Gent and I were doing a target run for a backpack at 3XP, and we were chatting. And I was like, "Hey, Brown Gent, I think I'd be done with this streaming thing. I don't, I'm not feeling it. It's just it's sort of." It's this and that, and I'm at a stage in life where I need to give something up because time commitment, whatever, right? And he's like, "Why?" The way Brown Jen asked, why questions, there's just something, and it got me to think. We were chatting. Long story short, it's because of, and not exclusively. Don't take too much credit, BG, but it was because Brown Chen and I were chatting. He made me think twice about maybe giving up the streaming venture. So you guys all have Brown Chen to thank for that. So thank you very much. And Kristian, awesome having spending chatting time chatting with you as always. We need to do. I think I still owe you some information on ETH Denver. I'm thinking I'll be able to make it. I just need confirmation on my end. But long story short, thank you all. Thank you everyone who's watching this. Thank you, Kristian. Thank you, BG. 2024. I really hope it's a prosperous year for all of us in more ways than one. And it's been a bumpy ride thus far, and I can honestly say I feel like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm just stoked. I'm really excited.
Sarge, before you go, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How long have you been in crypto for?
This is my first bear market. I've done the FOMO thing in the past, and I've bounced during the bear, but this is the first time I stick it through. And one of my goals, when I started sort of following and even starting this channel, one of my goals, and I think we all have different goals. It wasn't to become famous and have 1 million YouTube subscribers. My goal was make all the right connections, talk to people who are smarter than you, who are more in tune than you, and be able to chat and converse and get into these conversations where you learn about new projects or you learn about new airdrops. So from that perspective, for me, that's been a win. But as far as your question, this is my first full bear market, and it's been gnarly, but worthwhile. I think if I were to do it again, I'd stick around yet again.
I mean,
yeah, we love you, Sarge. I know Roberto, he probably speaks for all of us. Glad you stuck around. I look forward to your Friday night Candor Ganders every time. If you haven't already, go out to Sarge's channel, give him a subscribe, make sure that you're there for Friday nights. He gets the best alpha out of the team. So great resource for everything DFK and learning the rest of the crypto markets like we all are, guys. I mean, just taking it one step at a time. Love you, Sarge. Have an amazing 2024 if I don't see you before.
We'll
put a link to Sarge's channel out so you guys can subscribe to it and everything after the fact. Thanks for joining us, Sarge. And
of course.
What I'll say, if he's still on, or just for everyone, is this is actually most people's first bear market dealing with adversity, and this is probably the best tuition you can get, because living through this is all about like capital preservation, and now you're about to reap the rewards of sort of sitting through all of this pain. Obviously, the first of it, you've got to like make sure you make the smart decisions, because it's just not an extended bull market forever. It's going to flip back at some point, but you're about to like really experience, like you've already paid up front the liability. Now it's time to really enjoy what's coming. And that's why like people leave bear markets very skeptical. And then over a period of time, the bull market just doesn't stop. And then people go, oh my God, forget it. I'm going to stop being risk averse. They become highly risky. And then that's when the thing turns around. So that's what we say to people at the start. Once the bull market starts, that's your high at the start. Kind of like what Kristian said, right? So that was $10. Now it's $100. The time to be bullish was when it was $10, because the ROI was there. The risk versus return, so much better now than it is. Before than it is now. And just like that, as we see the bull market starting to go, like Bitcoin's nowhere close to all-time highs, especially Ethereum. There are certain things that you could really be bullish on without having too much of a risk mitigation strategy. The risk comes in once we get to the sort of later stages when we start seeing things slowing down. And yeah, Wolf King said it correctly. Bear markets are where real money's made because that's when you accumulate. That's where we've been here the whole time buying and not selling. A lot of people like the Alex Monatons and the whatever, they just buy at the all-time highs, dump at the lows, and leave. And they'll come back at all-time highs to buy again. But they're not the winners.
Hey, and I'm looking at all you here on stream. If you're watching after the fact, if you've stuck around this far, if things look good for us all, maybe we're all a spectrum of whales, a year from now. So again, thank you all. We'll catch you. I'll keep listening, guys, but we'll stay in touch. Have a nice one.
Have a good Christmas, Sarge.
Merry Christmas. Yep.
Yeah. All right. You know what? Maybe we'll transition here before we go to the next topics or continue. Maybe I'll put the next giveaway topic up. So we had a topic around visages. Am I saying it right? Visages?
Vizzies.
Vizzies? All right. We'll call it Vizzies. So I have no idea which Vizzies you guys want. So I figured, hey, I'll just give whoever wins this 10 USDC. You pick what Vizzy you want. Or if you don't want to buy a Vizzy, you want to buy a jewel. Up to you, I guess. Here's the question. I'm going to read it out loud and post it in the chat. First person to give the right answer, once again. If you give the wrong answer, I'm not going to tell you, but any future answers you give will not count. So make sure you actually know the answer because I don't want people just spamming stuff here. All right. So the question is, which DeFi Kingdoms class has the move barrage and what is its mana cost? If you have been playing in the boar hunts, you might know the answer to this. If not, you might have to start looking this up very quickly. Good luck. Anyways, Kristian, so what's good? What's good?
Yeah, that's a great DFK question. I like using barrage in my boar hunts as well. So definitely an awesome question. The Vizzies, to me, Brown Gent, are a great way to showcase the game to outside projects. I know that the team's having a ton of conversations with other gaming projects and big time gaming projects. That's no pun intended there, but there's a lot of gaming projects that want to cross collaborate and they all have in-game items that they want to showcase on DFK. The nice thing, just like with Karate Combat, is that we can probably get some type of an agreement where it's a give and take, right? You might get some tokens, you might get an item in their game, you might get something else. But yeah, it's just like, I think that Vizzies have got a ton to offer the entire community. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where we look back and go, gosh, those bloater suits now are rare, right? They could not be around for another year, 2 years or whatever, right? And somebody comes into the game is like, man, that's awesome. I want a bloater suit. How do I get one? Well, the only one that's got him is Sticks Intern, and he's got 185 of them. So he ends up like making out like a bandit because they're all worth now, thousands of dollars each. But, it's just like one of those things where I think that we'll look back on some of these times right now that we're in and go like, gosh, I wish I would have loaded up on this, that, or the other thing. Vizzies being one of them. I think Vizzies are going to have a lot of in-game. Well, they're going to make like anything, skins. My son buys CSGO skins, right? For like 10, 20, $50. And I'm like, okay, that's money that you're never going to see again. At least with Vizzies, you can go back and have a marketplace for them, but I'm excited about it. Did somebody get it?
Oolong got it. So it's a level.
All right, Oolong.
It is Archer and its mana cost is 31. Kristian, I think Dewar was saying mana cost change. I don't think they do on any. I haven't seen it. Is that a thing?
They do. They actually change depending on the I don't know if it's level. I think it is level. So my higher level heroes, the mana costs are different on them.
That's interesting because I looked at two. I have a level 11, level 12 Archer, a level 15 Archer. Both times the mana cost was 31.
It might be the same. I always thought it. I mean, I haven't paid attention to tell you the truth. This is a Wowie question or a Matty Pesk. I mean, These are the things that I go in there and I just, I smash buttons and I try to win these boar hunts as often as I can, but I don't really pay attention to it too much. It just seems like my higher level heroes, they seem to go through their mana a lot faster. So for whatever reason.
Okay, interesting. I mean, the thing, I think one of the reasons why this might have stayed stable is like to use it, you're level 15 anyways. So like most people who would look at it, I guess maybe if you're level 20, maybe it's higher. But if you're level 15 or lower, it shouldn't be 31 or, you know what I'm saying? It should be 31 as the bottom. Okay, that probably makes some sense if that's how it works. But Oolong, if you can please give me your Discord or your Twitter handle. And that way I can connect with you after the fact, and I will send you 10 USDC. Do whatever the hell you want with it. If you want a Vizzy, if you want to just send the 10 USD somewhere else and buy yourself some food, whatever.
Definitely get yourself a karate gi, and then you'll get some karate tokens and hopefully turn those into a small fortune. This is the accumulation time, just like you were talking about, Brenda. We've all made it through this bear market. I've gone out and accumulated so many different projects that I now get a chance to see if they're going to make it and continue to grow in this bull market. I'm excited because most of them I even have, a small bag of Solana. I don't have a huge bag by any means, but I kept a lot of Solana from the last bull run that went up, and it's a couple hundred. It's not a ton, but it's like nice to see it go up like 10x in a year. I'm still surprises me. I wish I would have bought more back when it was $11, $12, but now I'm just holding on to it. I just figure why not, right? Why not see where it goes to? I don't think we've even come close to seeing what this market's going to do. I mean, am I wrong on this? Do you have some thoughts on what you think how 2024 is going to play out?
Ironically, I made a video about this maybe like 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago. Let me go back to the Bitcoin chart. Okay. So this is sort of the comparison chart. Maybe I'll zoom in. No, whatever. So this whole thing is up 40-ish% since like the same time period that ETH has gone up 6%. There's a liquidity zone around 48,000 up here for Bitcoin. If we're able to hold here, like this uptrend, people love drawing these arrows that go like kind of here to show like, hey, look, it's kind of going up that escalator or elevator or whatever. Well, 48,000 is a significant test level. It corresponds to potentially some news we may get from the SEC, positive or negative. I think in both situations, it'll be either a quick dump or a potential euphoria for a couple days and then a dump, because I think that the institutions are the ones who make all the moves. When you see tons of like sell pressure, it's not a regular person selling this, right? In order to move markets, and Bitcoin, which is like, what is it, like 600 billion right now or 700 billion? It doesn't matter if a whale has like a few $1 million worth of Bitcoin. That means nothing. It's the heavy institutions. The same thing in the stock market. It's always institutions make the moves. Retail traders like us are the ones who, we go with them with the movement. So I think they'll want an opportunity to load up on Bitcoin. And typically what they'll do is they'll try to send prices down to a certain level, cause some panic, because they know people will panic, sell, bring the price down, build up their bags, accumulate, and then send it back up. If you want to close your eyes and pretend January, February aren't happening, just hold on to your crypto and enjoy the ride. It's going to be straight up. Like if you aren't looking, month to month. But if you're a trader and you're experienced in how to sort of swing trade and you want to like get a better price on some of these things, it's not the worst idea to take some positions and trim them and then let it regress a bit and buy back in. But once again, that comes down to your skill level and what you feel comfortable with. If you want, just pretend January, February aren't happening, and pretend you don't have pretend you signed up with Robinhood and they got rid of your button. I guess this is the buy button, but imagine the sell button's gone. Then that's it. Just pretend you can't do it. Just watch. It'll come down and it'll keep going up after. It's great. The one thing I don't want people to do is overreact to this and go, oh, well, it's going to come down. I'm going to sell, and then they miss out on a huge move, right? Because we don't know when the sell pressure is going to happen. If we did, we'd all be millionaires, like trillionaires, if we're able to predict things. We're not. Yeah. Oolong, I just want to confirm. You sent me Oolong 9163. Is that you? Because he texted me on Discord. I had the same thing happen, KP, and the only way I knew last time was two people messaged me at the same time saying that there's one person. All right. Well, yeah. I know you're lying. I know one of you is lying. Like Prisoner's Gambit or whatever,
Definitely. Merry Christmas, Oolong. Congrats for that. Yeah, I think the same thing. I mean, when I was talking to Fox, I showed the difference between DCA and in and buying every single dip at the exact bottom and selling at the exact top. And the difference is like 10%.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge trader. I know, Brown Gent, you're a much bigger trader than I am, but I just look at this last year as this such an amazing accumulation time. I got on with Grady. I got on with the entire DFK team, or as many of them as I possibly could. And we talked about, like, how do you get in and DCA into what these projects that your, conviction is high. And, if that was Solana, if that was DFK, if that was Alluvium, Immutable X, Gala, any of these projects that have just gone up, you're happy. You're extremely happy because 2023 was a nice run. I think you're right, Brown Gent. We're going to see some volatility. If the ETF gets approved, guys, it's going to be euphoria. Just like Brown Gent said, we're going to probably have a week of euphoria where people are just like, oh, Bitcoin's going to 1 million. The hedge funds are going to load up. All of the retirement funds are going to load up, and it'll go up, and it'll go up really fast, but it'll come down just as fast. And there'll be a shakeout where people get on leverage, and that leverage comes into the market really quickly, where people take out 100x leverage and they try to ride it up as much as they possibly can. As soon as that hits that peak euphoria, boy, I mean, it's just like clockwork. They really know how to work those people and just shuffle the entire. So it'll probably go up significantly and go down. But if it doesn't get approved for whatever reason, the SEC comes back and says, yeah, we're going to kick the can down the road. Oh boy, then we're looking for a sell-off because everybody's front running this ETF approval, right?
Yeah, it's like people want to. I mean, I'd love to say, hey, we're all smart here and we know this is going to happen and everything, but everyone's doing the same thing. So if everyone's objective is the exact same thing, then literally, what upside do we have? People have already assumed all this stuff and they've already accounted for it in the prices. That's what people seem to miss, right? I think that's why they call it buy the rumor, sell the news. Is all of this stuff is priced it up front. The same thing when you have a pharma stock or something looking for an approval of something. The only times those stocks actually run is if they get unexpected news, like, oh, our thing got approved 6 months earlier. Oh, this actually got an extra indication it cures cancer or something, And I think that's the part. But for the most part, if it's just, hey, they get a contract at this date, great. It happens. You start seeing things sell off because things never happen normally. It's always extended one way or the other. When Jewel was down and Jewel got sold off, it sold off more than it should have. And when Jewel was bought up, it was bought up more than it should have. Nothing is ever the right amount. It's always extended to one side or the other. So I think exactly what you said, we're going to see some sort of panic selling if things come out. Cole King is saying, I agree but disagree. The hardness of BTC and the lack of liquidity is not priced in as well. The problem is it's hard. We don't know, right? We don't know because we don't have all the wallet addresses of who has it. But what we expect is, especially the institutions who want it, they don't play fair. They want to send the price down because they know how people operate. They know that if you open up your app and you saw Bitcoin was down 15%, one, they liquidated all your longs, right? Your leverage longs, they're gone. Then they're gonna just sit there. People start panic selling. It's like, oh, you see that? Oh, I'm only up 2%. I'm gonna sell out before I lose everything. It starts selling and starts selling and starts selling and starts selling, and then they send it up. Yeah, I know we have 18 million coins or whatever, but it's not about that. I think it's more about how much allocation do the institutions want relative to everything else. That's their decision. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And one of the things that I've heard talked about, which I agree with 100%, is that once the first ETF is approved, all of them are going to come on board. And then it becomes a marketing ploy, right? By all of the huge funds that are out there, the Black Rocks, and the Fidelities and the ARCs and all of those companies that have, billions, if not trillions of dollars under management. They're all going to be marketing to their investors to get them to take some of their portfolio and move it into Bitcoin. So that's when it becomes fun, right? When you turn on CNBC and it's like, BlackRock's telling me that I should get some exposure to Bitcoin because it's going to 2x next year. That's when, people start to get excited about it. And the fees are going to be next to nothing. And when it's a spot trade, that just means those ETFs, every time somebody buys into an ETF, they've got to buy more Bitcoin. So that's going to be the big thing that comes in. And then when people start to get exposure to Bitcoin, they're going to be like, okay, what else is out there? Well, the next one is Ethereum. They're all going to start to try to get Ethereum exposure. Then they're going to move down the chain like they always do. It'll get overextended like it does because nothing goes up in a straight line. People are going to over leverage themselves. I mean, trust me, in the last bull run, I took out 10x leverage, 20x leverage on some trades that I made, and I just sweated it out as the volatility kicks in on a lot of these things. And you realize really quickly that the one goal that we all should have in this bull run is not to get liquidated. Just don't go in over your head. Make sure that you're convicted on the coins that you do choose. If that's Bitcoin, if that's Ethereum, if that's Jewel, whatever it is, just buy it and hold on to it. You don't need leverage. You don't need 10x. You don't need 100x leverage. Just buy it and hold on to it. We're in a time frame right now where this next year is going to be fun, especially when they cut interest rates and they turn on the money printers again, which they will. I mean, we're in that sort of in-between market right now where they had to squash inflation, which they did. And now that inflation's going down all over the world, the next thing they're going to do is they're going to cut interest rates because they have to refinance the government debt. And when all that government debt gets refinanced, they're going to want to do it at lower interest rates for a longer period of time. So it's just going to be a nonstop continual route where all of these assets that are fixed, that don't have they don't have an infinite supply like dollars or yen or euros. They can print those forever, but they can't print more Bitcoin, just like you were alluding to. They can't print more Ethereum. Ethereum's going to get burned. Jewel's getting burned. All these tokens that get burned that have some utility to them, that accrue fees in some way, they're all going to be valuable. They're going to be worth more. So that's what I look at is like, what can we hold right now in our possession that's our own digital asset that nobody can take away from us? And these are the digital assets that you want to hold right now. What are your thoughts, Brown Gent?
I just want to say ditto. Like, I completely agree there. I think it's lots of like fantastic tailwinds. I think Rubito's saying brr because the money printer and Jerome Powell is kind of being turned on. I think, and I would love to hear your opinion on this too. I've learned so much more about the economy, politics, and everything by investing in crypto, investing in stocks, because it used to just be about the company. It just used to be about the token. And then all of a sudden it's like all these senators and what they're saying, all the sort of like inflation, money printing, and like all the fiscal policies that are coming out. That's made me hypersensitive. Now, like I never cared about Canadian politics. I never cared about US politics. Now I'm actually like listening in, hearing exactly what's going on and trying to understand, because they have significant impact on our value of our assets, right? And like in a bear market or a recession, like the ones that they almost induce with their poor fiscal planning, it increases sort of like there's so much money that's out there because of the printing. And because of that, they sort of increase the interest rates to take the money out. The money comes down. People don't have enough money. Eventually you get into a stage where, okay, now the asset's going to be kind of go up in value. So then now we got to spend the money to do it. So it's sort of like flip-flopping back and forth. I bought a Mox Pearl the other day, which is a piece of Magic's Power 9 cards. Very rare. They printed like, I think, a few thousand copies of this around the world that are still in existence. And those cards, TCG cards, tend to go up significantly in value when you have a bull market. And those cards, their prices have not changed. They dumped at the end of it. So I have been literally, like, outside just buying crypto, I've been buying any of these TCG cards I can get a hand on, because like they're like easily worth 3 to 5x from the last bull market. And since then, we've had an influx of like maybe like double the players in the game, given like everything that happened with the pandemic and all that. So it's crazy. Yeah. So what I would say is I completely agree with you. But did you find that when you started investing more, when you started getting involved in crypto, did you start all of a sudden caring more about politics, understanding exactly what's going on, or did you always care? I don't know.
Yeah, I've been watching ever since 2008. And really, if you go back in the 80s when they started to, let interest rates fall and let the money printer come on whenever there was some sort of a recession, it's just been an interesting way to watch this, guys. And the more educated I become on this, just like you, Brown Gent, the more I understand that asset prices have only gone up based on the fact that the monetary supply has gone up. So if you look at the stock market, if you look at the housing market, if you look at most assets, they've all gone up in accordance with the M2 money supply. But the only one that hasn't, it's been out of whack with that, that's gone up faster, has been technology stocks, You've got your FANG stocks that are out there because the technology is just absolutely incredible right now. It's just putting such a deflationary pressure on everything. But the ones that have even outperformed technology stocks is crypto, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So when you look at those things, what do you want to own? You can definitely own stocks. You can definitely own real estate. Those are great assets. They basically are keeping track of inflation. They're going up, as the money supply goes up. If you own high tech stocks, the Googles of the world and the Facebooks and the Amazons, yeah, those ones are going up faster than the money supply. But the ones that are going up even more than that are your Bitcoins and your Ethereums. So you're going to have a handful of other winners that make their way out of it. And you're going to look back on it and go, wow, there was a fixed supply. It's a digital asset. Nobody could take it away from me, and people want it. It has that desire to be owned by other people. And those are the things that you want to own. Just like you said, Magic the Gathering cards, collectibles, things that people really want that are finite, those are all going to have desire. They're going to always have that value associated with them. The nice thing about digital assets, guys, is you can put one in your Ledger wallet. You can take it wherever you go in the world, right? You don't have to have a bar of gold or a piece of real estate or, a stock. You can just have this little Ledger wallet and take it with you to Hong Kong or Singapore or Dubai or wherever, and it's yours and it's your net worth. Nobody can seize it from you. Nobody can get your wallet. Nobody can take your password. It's yours. So that's the nice thing about digital assets. And I just think, like Raoul Paul does he's talked about the exponential age. I'm 100% on board with that. We're in this major confluence of all of these amazing technologies that are coming together, from AI to robotics to technology to crypto, it's all coming together right now. And this is just going to be one of those times that we look back on and go, wow, everything just came together for this amazing run of 5 to 10 years of just exponential growth across the board. That's what I'm excited about right now.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think as the value of our cryptos and everything goes up, like, people will be making a ton more money, right? When you're in bull market, and all this excess money means people will be spending more. So you'll see people splurging on things in the next little while. Over the last year and a half, I don't think I saw that many people splurge, but this is also another reason why those finite collectibles are like, well, somebody now has like $10,000 to drop on something where a year ago they couldn't put food on the table potentially, right? So it was complicated. For Everton, difficult in the UK to get money into crypto. It seems easier in the US. You can actually use crypto.com. That's one of my buddies who lives in the UK actually uses that. And it seems not a bad problem. I think, obviously Canada's also terrible for crypto, tons of high fees. But I would definitely look around, check forums, because I'm sure you're not the only one in the UK who wants crypto. I'm sure people will be able to find the best way to get you some. Now, I think there's two routes you can look into. The first route I say is, I don't know if you're a gambler, but if you ever go to the casino, tons of poker players love crypto. It's like sort of, I don't know what it is about the culture. It's probably there's a part of the gambling degenerate part, but poker is less gambling. It's kind of like calculated risk. And that's sort of what crypto is as well. I think there's a huge overlap. A ton of people who are in crypto are poker players. Like Grady is one of those as well. You can go to them and ask them. A lot of them are willing to actually sell you crypto and send it directly to you. When I first got into crypto, that's what I did. I got people to send me crypto onto a wallet because I didn't know how to do any of these other centralized exchanges. I learned that after. And when you do it that way, you bypass the fees and you don't have to go through KYC. I didn't say you don't have to do KYC, but if that's the thing that helps you. The other thing you can do is look online, find out what DEXs you're able to support and sort of fund through there. Or maybe if you have a VPN that will get you access somewhere else, that's probably another solution. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kristian?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's always going to be an issue, right? I mean, I had issues too getting onboarded the first time, and I used Kraken and I used Coinbase and I used Binance, and I tried lots of different exchanges that were out there, and realistically, Everton, you're exactly right. It makes the powers that be make it really hard to get your money into crypto. The one thing that I like to say too, and I always kind of refer to this, is that crypto is like a vortex. It's almost like a black hole because people make money in it. Once you get your money into crypto a little bit, just a little taste of it, and especially in a bull market, you don't come out. Very few people take their money out of crypto because you either make a ton, and by a ton, I mean millions and millions and millions of dollars, or you lose it and you go away and you don't come back. So it's like, you've got only a few different types of people. And now in this upcoming bull market, I think it's going to become that black hole where people put $100 into, Ethereum, and then it goes up 5x and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to put some more. Let me put in $1,000, and then it goes up another 2x, and then it continually like makes people excited to go into it because the value accrues so quickly. Whereas in most other things, you put your money in and you make 2% or 1% or 5% a year, and you feel pretty good about yourself. In crypto, you've got these coins, these assets that continually gain value and are continually getting deflated over time. And the more people that come in, the more people that toss away the traditional financial system, just like, Brown Jen, the more people that say, hey, I don't want a bank account. Banks are BS, guys. Banks basically take your money and they make high risk leverage bets with it. And when they lose it, they get bailed out by the government. When they win, they don't give you anything back. You still get your 0.1% interest, but banks are a complete load of crap. Take your money out of a bank. Get your money out of a bank as quickly as you can. Find a better place to put it. If that's stocks or real estate or crypto or whatever, please do that. That's the one thing that I want to leave everybody with, is that don't ever keep any of your money someplace that it's not yours. It's not custodial. You don't own it. You don't have direct access to it. Once you put your money in a bank, you don't own it anymore. People think like, oh, it's my money. It's not. It's the bank's money. So don't ever get in that situation. It's never a good place to be in. Trust me, from 2008, that's the one lesson I learned, is don't ever keep your money or more money than you want to lose in a bank.
Yeah, I taught my wife that lesson maybe a few weeks ago. She had no idea that our prime minister actually signed an agreement that said if the bank ever went under, they don't owe us. They can take all our money, use it to bail themselves out now. So the government doesn't bail them out. The first line is actually the people whose bank accounts are with the bank. And that went under the radar. It did not make the news or anything. They just signed the bill silently a couple of years ago. But I have people who are in the banking industry who let me know. So it's pretty insane. But hey, while you're saying that, I found this video that I had sent around a few days ago to people. I thought this was really funny. I don't know if you've seen this yet, Kristian.
No.
All right, let's play this. I won't put the audio on, so you can see. So everything he's putting in is doubling.
Oh my gosh. That's exactly the way it feels though, right? It's like when you get into crypto, and you're right, it's like everything goes up and you're like, oh my God, I just made so much. And then when it goes down, you're like, oh my God, I just lost so much. It's like they keep sucking you back in until it's gone. But don't get stuck in that. I mean, that's a great demonstration though, of like, well, how crypto feels, especially in your first bull run.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Let's do it. We're nearing the end of the stream, but I wanted to give away two more things. I figured maybe I'll ask a question and you ask the question, and the winners each will get one of these heroes. So here are the other two heroes that I summoned before the stream. The rare Dark Knight has already made its way over to Dawara. So not available, but there's a common wizard and a common archer. Now, so my first question, so I asked the question first, and then sort of whoever answers it first correctly will win their pick. And then the other remaining, and they'll have to pick which hero they want after I've told them they won. And then the second one, Kristian, you can ask whatever question you want, and then same deal. They'll win the last hero. Okay. So my question is, there is a movie with a star, and her name in the movie is Katniss Everdeen, right? There is a prequel coming out. What is the name of the movie?
That's a good one.
Katniss Everdeen. Jennifer Lawrence is the actor's name. That's the only hint you're getting.
Yep. That one's going to be out shortly. I can't wait to see that one. I mean, I took my daughters to go see the Trolls movie, which was fun. If you guys have kids, you should definitely go check that out. It's always a good time. My question is going to be a little bit easier one, I think.
Go ahead.
I'll give you the little bit easier. Other than the amount of Jewel, how much is circulating right now? The
I need the
total
full
amount.
name.
What's
Sorry,
that?
Christian. I need the full name of the movie. All right, cool. You got it. The AA Freeze. Sorry. So AA Freeze got it. Hunger Game, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
There you go.
I kept saying like the Ballad of Ice and Fire, but that's like Game of Thrones.
That is
You know
Game
what I mean?
of Thrones, yeah.
Yeah.
So the amount of Jewel right now, other than the amount that's been burned, has been staked. How much is circulating? You can find the number on Coin-Store if you don't know. The number that's on CoinMarketCap isn't right. So if you know exactly what the amount of circulating Jewel is right now, as of today, December 25th, 2023. If you know that number, I'll give you to the million. So you know that there was originally 125 million that was circulating. Other than the amount that's staked and has been burned so far, how much is that number? Do you happen to know, Brown Gent?
No, but I know where I can find it.
Yeah, I know that we're closing in on 3 million that's been burned, I think, if it hasn't gotten there already. So there's only 122 million that's actually available.
Okay, and this whoever answers your question will get a wizard. Okay. AA Free, if you wouldn't mind, could you please send your Discord handle or your Twitter handle?
And again, guys, another very big Merry Christmas. Brown Jen has been kind enough to give you guys a lot of freebies, a lot of giveaways on today's stream. Make sure that you've smashed the like button, subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a ton of other content that him and I are creating around airdrops and around everything else that's going on in crypto right now. I think that we're going to have one hell of a bear. We've come out of a one hell of a bear market, but we're going to have one hell of a bull market going forward here. And I'm looking towards the end of next year to actually start things off. Although the ETF would be nice to kickstart us here in January, assuming that gets approved, which, come on, guys. I mean, SEC, you've already had your hand slapped by a judge, a federal judge that basically said you're not allowed to delay this any longer. So let's get that BTC ETF out there and let the markets rip for a while. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome?
You know what, Christian? I love it. Outside Jewel and outside any of the top 10 tokens, what token are you most excited about outside the top 10? So no Ethereum, no Bitcoin, and then also no Jewel.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to do a video on my channel about this probably beginning of next year. But one of the tokens that I've been accumulating heavily throughout the bear market has been called Butterfly. It's the Redacted Cartel, and they just came out with an Ethereum liquid staking token called Dinero, and it's really going to be huge, I think, going forward.
Another way to add Ethereum back into the mix. Okay, yeah, okay, keep going.
I think that there's going to be a ton of great projects out there, but I'm looking for those, those $5 million, $10 million market caps right now that have a chance to go to 100, 200, $500 million in this next bull run. I just think that there's so many of them out there that you guys have just got to do some research, get out there in Discord, listen to the AMAs, listen to what these projects are building. If they're building something that you understand and you can get behind, God, just pick a couple and go in. You don't need to follow all the shiny objects. There's going to be people telling you to buy NFTs. There are going to be people telling you to buy into initial coin offerings and initial DeFi offerings and all the games that are coming out. But yeah, just find a couple of projects that you love. If you're really into games, there's so many cool games. Heroes of Mavia is going to be out first quarter, probably January. I've got 2 pieces of land in Heroes of Mavia. I haven't really even talked to you guys about that one for about a year since I had one of the founders on my channel. That's going to be an amazing game, just like Clash of Clans. So I'm excited about that one as well. But yeah, that one's going to have some potential. If that gets any sort, if you guys know Clash of Clans, that was what catapulted Supercell to $1 billion company overnight. I mean, basically Clash of Clans was Supercell's huge hit. And Supercell was a company of, I don't think there was more than 30 people in their entire company in Sweden. And they became $1 billion company. And everybody in that company became like a multi-millionaire. And it was just like so cool to see. But yeah, that's what I'm excited about. What about you, Brown Jen? Are you watching anything in particular that you're like, hey, this is a lower cap coin, something around 10 million or below that you're like, hey, this one's got a ton of potential?
Yeah, so I think this one's like 50 mil. But so I'm not going to cover any of the kind of Cosmos ecosystem stuff because we've talked about it a bunch. But one that I'm interested to see is actually Shrapnel, right? So I think they went a completely different way than most Web3 games, right? It's not token gated. Like you don't need any tokens for like the actual game, but you can buy like these like kits and stuff like that. And it's like it is like a Call of Duty sort of first player shooter, AAA game studio, like doing all the things right. You know, they delayed their launch till January, and sort of there's been a ton of hype. They've actually like, I don't know if you know who what's his name? Ninja, not Ninja. I forget who the person that they picked was, but like they've looked at Twitch creators, like million subscriber creators, and got them on board as like advisors. So like this is like very different than what I've seen a lot of Web3 games do. Like Web3 games for the most part are like, you know, kind of like DFK is like a standout here because DFK is very different than most, right? But this is like, this is a game somebody would actually pay like $50 to $100 for like the actual game. And then, you know, you get all the maps and doing all this. It's kind of like, you know, the Fortnites and the things like playing a game Web3 that's on Twitch that is not just like based on tokens and NFTs, but like finding a way to incorporate that technology into what people who play video games are used to. Do you know what I'm saying? So right. I'm not sure if this is going to be turns out really good, but I think this is the closest to a hybrid that I've seen. I'm very interested in following the project. The trailers look incredible. Ogre was kind enough to get me one of those extraction packs. He gave me like a medium one or whatever. And I'm going to like do a bit more coverage. The Shrap token, I think, is like 36 cents, something like that. It's available on Avalanche. I made a video talking a little bit about how I'm excited about this project, waiting for a bit of a retracement on it, but still like either way it goes, I think this is a great way forward. I love Web3. I love Web3 gaming. Want to see how this reception is. And then if the tokens actually have value because of sort of what you can buy in the game and all the skins and all that, or does it just end up once again being like a, let me sort of use greater fool's theory and I bought this months ago and people found out about Shrapnel after, let me dump on them. Don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. So
yeah, definitely. Well, if you guys didn't know too, Shrapnel's on an Avalanche subnet. It's they've been talking back and forth with us at DFK, and there's a lot that's going on behind the scenes. I'm sure that you guys will be privy to it at some point. But Shrap is they're a big project. They've got a lot of funding, so I think that they're going to do really well. A couple of people that answered in the chat, Large with the 65 million, that was close. Oolong 49 million. WagMe 125 million. That was the original. Oolong 428 million. No, that was 500 million was the original amount that was there. If you guys want to do a little quick math, or do you want to save this wizard for the next giveaway?
Or you can ask a different question if no one got it. It's up to you.
Okay. I mean,
it isn't DFK related anyways. It could be anything you want, right?
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting because there's been 3 million about that's been burned, and there's about 40, a little bit over 40 million that's been locked as C Jewel and S Jewel. So you guys can do the math real quick. Comes out to about 71, somewhere between 70 and 71 million tokens that are in total circulating supply right now. So that gives you an idea too, guys. 70 million tokens, Jewel tokens are about out there, and you can do market caps pretty quickly and easily based on the prices. So that's a really interesting thing that I thought was like, okay, fun to know, what these circulating supplies are. Both Brown, Jen, and I look at the value of tokens, not just the price point, because you're going to look at Bitcoin, you're going to say 45,000. That's too expensive. But you might look at a coin that's 0.0001 cent, and it could have a market cap that's almost the same as Bitcoin. So you have to be very careful about the tokens, the token supplies, what their value is. And I just like to educate people a little bit too, and go like, okay, based on the price and how many tokens are currently being circulated, here's what is valued at right now. And some projects are very, very undervalued, and some projects are very, very overvalued. So always be careful what you're buying and what that circulating supply is.
When you said that, it reminded me of the time my wife came to me and was like, hey, why don't you buy Starbucks stock? And I'm like, I'm like, why specifically, right? There's nothing about it. And then I'm like, well, I like Apple. And she was like, but Starbucks, it's better than Apple. It's more than Apple. I'm like, what do you mean? And then she showed me, and I'm like, just because the stock price is higher doesn't mean anything, right? It's all about the market cap, right? And people always go, they just compare. I'm like, but Apple is a $3 trillion company. What are you talking about? Like, this is nothing. Like it's a big company. Don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere close to Apple. And I think people go, oh, $190 versus 600, and they don't understand, right? So it's exactly that point. And it's also very important to look at when people make claims. Like let's use Dogecoin for actually Shiba Inu for example. Shiba Inu had a market cap, I forget, like a couple, maybe like 20 or 30 billion dollars at the high point or whatever, right? And people were like, oh, don't worry, Shiba Inu will get to like 1 cent. I'm like, for it to get to 1 cent, it's gonna be worth more than everything else in crypto. Like, what do you mean? Like, we'll never, like, if we're gonna get there, Bitcoin's price has got to be like in the millions plus, like beyond, like there's no way. And people don't seem to understand that because they're like, oh, what's a penny? But I'm like, what's outstanding? How many tokens exist?
Right. Yeah, you have to be really careful. You'll see a lot of meme coins out there that are a fraction of a penny, but that just means that they have trillions and trillions of tokens that are out there circulating. So always be careful about the prices. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that one out there just to find out, what people were doing in the chat and what was, what they had an interest in. I don't know. That was the question that I could think of. If you want to give it away to somebody else, is there another question you can think of that people might know in the chat?
Yeah, I'll think of one. I'll think of one while we're sort of answering some of these. Kristian, what do you think? What's your price target for Jewel? I mean, I know how we feel about price targets, but how do you want to answer this question?
I always think of the price targets of anything as, do you have conviction and do you think that this project is going to be around for a long time? It's just like a stock. If you pick a stock, do the Warren Buffett. Do you use it? Is it Coca-Cola? Is it Apple? Is it one of those things that is going to be around for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Do you know it's growing? Is it going to be, worth more tomorrow than it is today? Is the team good? Are they good at what it is that they do? When it comes to Jewel, did anybody think Jewel was going to be worth $1.4 billion back last January, January 2022? I don't think anybody would have ever imagined in a billion years that it would ever be that high. Do I think it could get up to that again in an all-time high? I don't know, but you guys can do the math. I mean, there's a lot less circulating supply now, and that was when Jewel was at $22. So, if you do the math, you can figure out what it would be if it got to that all-time high. And that was just based on bullish sentiment, just like anything else. When you're in a bull market and people rush into whatever they can get their hands on, things happen. And it's the markets get irrational really quickly. And I've seen it happen. I'm sure that all of you guys have seen it happen. Just look at what's gone on when it comes to bull markets, and people rush in and buy whatever they can possibly get their hands on. So if it does hit an all-time high, and we know that there's 4x less tokens than there was last time, geez, guys, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't want to do any price predictions, but you guys know how expensive that would be. And when you look at it like that, you're like, whoa, that's incredible. But find a project that you're convicted in. If that's DeFi Kingdoms, if that's any other project out there, find a nice low market cap and just buy some DCA in. Don't get excited about it too much. Just buy $100, $200 every week or every 2 weeks or every month or whatever makes sense to you. And just hold on to it. We haven't even hit the bull market yet. That's why Brown Gent and I are so excited. It's like, we haven't seen the Bitcoin ETF. We haven't seen the halving yet. We haven't had any interest rate cuts in a long time. Once we do, that's when markets get really exorbitant really quickly.
All right. I got a question. So this is going to be DFK related. And once again, looking for the right answer. You know the deal. I'm not going to repeat myself. What's the name of the profession quest on Crystal Veil that cares about the agility stat? So I put that up here. What's the name of the profession quest? Crystal Veil specifically, agility stat is what it cares about.
So this is the training quest on Crystal Veil that you have to use agility for?
Correct.
Okay. I'm sure somebody will find that one really quickly.
Yep. Figured it'd be it's like a softball,
Yeah.
I was thinking of another one, but I'll say it anyways. If you guys haven't already, whether you're watching on Kristian's stream or here, go subscribe to Kristian Peter. I was going to ask them to actually find the link to your YouTube and post it, but for some reason StreamYard blocks links, so I'm like, oh, that won't work.
Yep.
All right, we got it here. Log rolling. So, WagMe, got it? WagMe. What's your Discord/Twitter handle?
Congratulations, WagMe. That's awesome. And congratulations to everybody that's won something. I mean, it's awesome to give away these different gifts to people, especially on Christmas and holidays and around this time of year. So congratulations to everybody. Make sure that you take time to hang out with your family, enjoy this. It's the end of the year. We're all excited about 2024 and can't wait. I just can't wait for that second week in January. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And it's like I've DCA'd and DCA'd and DCA'd, and now it's actually getting to 2024. And I'm like, great. We're here. Let the fun begin.
Time to get paid off. One thing I've noticed is so many people, or everyone seems to have Discord. A few people use like Twitter. Twitter is kind of like the backup almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Discord's easier to go through and figure out. I mean, Twitter, you have to be following the other person too to DM people.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't. You know what? That makes sense. Somebody said they weren't verified, so they couldn't DM me. I was like, what are you talking about? I was talking about the, what's it called? The Manta airdrop. And it is a lot more complicated than it seems at first, especially if you don't know all the steps, like having the ETH gas. And this person was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like, hold on, DM me on Twitter. And they're like, I can't.
Yeah. I did want to let you guys know too that next week's the 1st on Monday. I'll probably come on chat for a little bit on the 1st. I don't know, Brown Jen, if you want to get together again and we can chat, but on the 8th of January, I'm going to have Poppy on from DeFi Kingdoms, the core team. She runs some of the ads, the content creation, the marketing, and we're going to chat for an hour probably about everything DeFi Kingdoms. I'm happy to have a female on the channel. It's not often that you get a female presence in crypto. So she was kind enough to say that she'd come on. So I'm excited to have her. And if you guys haven't already, make sure again that you've smashed the like button. Make sure that you subscribe. We're here to help. I mean, we're here to make sure that you guys have as much information as possible so that you can make the best decisions possible going into this next bull market. So we're excited about this. I'm excited enough to come on Christmas and talk to you guys and enjoy the holiday season with you all. And I just think this is going to be an amazing year where we all see just what's going to go on. And it should be fun. It should be so much fun. I mean, I can't wait.
Yeah, dude, like honestly, it's just, we're coming out the other end. And it's like, finally, it's like just having the discipline, the fortitude to sit there and like, I've chosen, or I've selected to not spend as much as normal and really like put that aside to be like, okay, well, when my friends were like buying all these things and go, oh, my wife be like, oh, why aren't you buying like, like what did you buy? And she was like, oh, buying these like gold, like jewelry and everything. And she's like, well, why aren't you doing that? I'm like, I'll buy that when Bitcoin is like 100K plus. And, I've made my money off doing all these things, because I'm like, once you like are in this and you see the potential, every dollar that I spend like then is like $10 I'm spending.
Right.
So I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, so if I bought something for like, if I bought a Rolex, like she wanted me to, when we were in Dubai, it was like $8,000, right? Or $10,000. It would have cost me $100,000 effectively, because I'm like, I'm giving up my earning potential. Why would I do that now? Let me do that when the potential is no longer there. Let me reward myself. Step 1, complete. Stack in the bear market. Step 2, take profits in the bull market. Once I'm done that, that's when I'll start buying,
Great advice. Yeah, definitely.
All right. I think that's pretty much it for tonight. It's like 1:30 a.m. here. Kristian, I think it's getting late over there as well. I want to thank you for being on. We'll figure out if we're doing another stream later. We're probably going to do some more airdrop streams, but, I'm going to say a few words. Maybe Kristian, you want to as well. Thank you guys for being a fantastic community. Hope you guys are having a great holiday season, whether you're celebrating Christmas or any other holiday. Hope you take the time to spend time with your family and your friends. We're here talking about crypto and stuff, but the reason we're doing all this stuff, making all this money, is so that it makes things even easier for us, so that we can spend more time with our families and have that financial freedom. So never forget like why you're doing this. It's not just money, but like money empowering you to be able to do the things you want to do with the people that you want to spend your time with. And as always, thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, share the video. Kristian, I'll pass it to you.
Definitely. Thank you guys so much. Everybody in the chat as well. Large, Everton, A-Free, WagMe, all you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Had a lot of fun with you. There's going to be so much more coming up in the new year. Super excited for everything that's going to happen.
Awesome. Have a good night, guys. Merry Christmas.